What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. Now, today we're going to be talking about your pressing questions I always get on the live stream, and I get tons of these, guys. So we're going to talk today very specifically about all this stuff and kind of clear up a few things that you guys have been asking about, at least where I can kind of clear it up. And the most pressing question has been the new crossover project. Now that says 2021 spring. We're still technically in winter. Spring isn't here yet. Now notice where we're at right now. It says New Year / Valentine's event available. We currently have that. That actually is leaving next week, this week on the 24th. So that's actually be gone soon. So really the next thing on the list according to that is this. Because it also says adding skill flow and features to more content. So in other words, expect more stuff. I'm really hoping there's a new Monsterphilia. We haven't talked about Monsterphilia in a really long time. I haven't done my videos on that, so I really need to get off my butt and do that, to be honest with you. Sword Oratoria Volumes 5 and 6 available permanently as main story. We got 1 through 4. We just got those. And notice that goes all the way into spring, so maybe we're not going to see those quite yet. So maybe we're getting really, really close. US 3rd Anniversary, we already know what that's about. US 3rd Anniversary generally is just like, it's not even really like Tales or anything like that. It's just a couple of missions, and it usually overlaps with the April Fool's event. And I'm really hoping this year's April Fool's event is as good as last year's, because that mini game they had last year was stellar. So much fun. So I'm really looking forward to what's going to be happening April Fool's this year. Everybody's talking about the collabs, everybody's talking about reruns, everybody's talking about the anniversaries. Nobody's really looking at that, and probably because it only lasts a week, but that's a really fun week for this game. So, worth paying attention to. Now, permanently accessible battle contents to be added. Don't know what that is. Maybe they're going to have another weekly event, kind of like they have Record Buster and War Game, and now we've got 7th Zone. It's a lot. But I'm going to be honest, 7th Zone's gotten so easy now, it's probably about time they had something a little more challenging. When it first dropped, it was a little challenging. Something new would definitely be really nice. And since we're talking spring 2021, I'm going to gauge that's probably coming before too terribly long. I really feel like that is something that's going to happen sooner rather than later. But your big question has been about the crossover project. So let's have a little discussion about that. The crossover project, we have no clue. Like, obviously, I've trolled you guys with the redo of Hero and a couple things like a redo of Heal. Keep calling Hero. To me, he's a hero. Redo of Healer and things like that. But realistically, we have no idea. We have no clue whatsoever. They haven't even given us hints. Though it is worth noting that Danmachi has had lately a lot of crossovers with other franchises. So anything goes at this point. We have no clue whatsoever. And it's really, really, really exciting. Now, a lot of people have asked me what I think it's going to be. The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is a really, really, really killer show right now. I haven't caught the latest episode. I'm really psyched for it. But that one would be fantastic. I don't think it's going to be ReZero. I would love for it to be, but we have no idea. We really don't know. So it could be any number of things. But bear in mind, and the one thing you want to consider here, and I've talked about this on stream, and I don't think I've talked about it in a video. Maybe I did a little bit, but prior to these crossover events, they always do a rerun. So when we got Goblin Slayer, they reran Data Live, and then they reran Kino. Now, the Kino collab, it's shown its age. There's not a lot of units that have really stayed high for that. Though there's a few that are still useful. They're not too insane at this point in time. I've heard arguments, but frankly, I feel like as this year progresses, by the anniversary, I don't think anybody's going to be using any of those units, even some of the new ones. The exception to that would definitely be, for me, Data Live, the Katora unit that we got during the reruns. The other thing to remember is when they do the reruns, not only we get the 2 banners that we got prior, we also get a 3rd banner that's got 2 new units that are generally really freaking awesome. So, what would be the rerun? Well, there's only 2 that they haven't rerun. That's Goblin Slayer, and we got that last year, and Attack on Titan. And I really feel like Titan is prone to get the rerun only because, one, we're in the final season. It's insane. It's hype. If they don't jump on it now, it's a definite misstep, because you're going to get so many people towards the tail end of the series that just are craving so much more. It's a great time to get them in a new franchise and a new game. I've talked about this a lot on stream, and I think I've been very vocal about how I feel that is probably going to be the rerun. The one thing I would be cautious about, very cautious about, those units now are about 2.5 years old. Very, very old. And no matter what the rebalances are, I don't think the rebalances are going to be enough to make them relevant. They'll kind of be like the Kino units. Sure, you'll use them from time to time, but they're not really going to be that crazy hype. That said, if you weren't here when that was originally run, it is definitely worth getting at least one of each collab unit, just so you get those CP rewards. If you haven't noticed that when I do a daily grind or anything like that, where I'm just grinding, Valis or whatever, even the current story events, I usually use some of those units that just have no real use otherwise, just to grind out their CP levels, get those rewards. Otherwise, I don't really see the need or desire to put a lot of CP items into those units, because frankly they're just not going to pay out aside from the Iris rewards. So for me, running those units in the daily pays out. Now that said, when Attack on Titan does rerun, or if it does, I'm going to presume it does, I would say in my heart of hearts I want to call it a 99% chance. Like, if it in that 1% chance they don't, I think it's a massive misstep. Now, a lot of people are like, oh my god, I love that series, I'm going to go crazy on those banners. Hold up before you do that. Remember, we're getting a new crossover project, and new crossover units tend to stay very relevant for very long. I would argue Goblin Slayer was himself was very useful up until maybe even as of recent. The only thing he's lacking is a percentage boost, and he'd be back on top. So there are the possibilities that we would get that. And bear in mind, also, Goblin Slayer did recently announce they're getting a second season, so I would think they would be smart and hold on until the season drops, but who knows? We actually don't have a new season of Danmachi this year. We do next year, and that'll bring me to another point here in a moment. But so they could actually run the Goblin Slayer collab in spring as a rerun. But this new crossover project, you're going to want to save some Iris for. Period. End of discussion. How much Iris do you want to save? Well, 8,000 Iris. And before you get too excited, oh my god, that's insane. I didn't get a chance to talk about it yet, but I showed it off a couple days ago. We did get kind of a... someone did an example of how much Iris they were able to save in January alone, and they were able to save 8,000 Iris in January just doing daily events and stuff like that. For me, I'm a big proponent of keep some of the story events available so you do have something to farm, so you don't need to go crazy, you don't need to just bleed items all the time. And that being said, I really feel like you could probably do like I did last May. If you really buckle down in March and save, last May I was able to save over 10,000 Iris just in that month alone. Going into the anniversary, not including all the boosts we got on the anniversary, I was fine. I had no problems. Also, if you're like me and you farm up all those beautiful gnome tickets that we get for every single tail new tail technically that comes out, you will then have enough that you can do whatever you want in that event and really not have any worries. You can maximum break a unit that's maybe only dropped one, or pull one or two and wait till after the event is over, wait till we get our assessments out and test them and really see what they do. So 8,000 Iris is what you want. So when I was telling you guys to save, it's a great time to save. I even said on the latest banners, I'm like, as good as Leafy is, as good as Hephaestus is, don't go crazy. If it's any indication, when Hephaestus dropped, I didn't really go too crazy into the banner. I did 3 pulls and then backed out and just did drop my Prism Bonds, because she wasn't dropping. It just wasn't worth. I would rather drop my monthly Prism Bonds and then do whatever I do with the rest. Just say it. You gotta plan accordingly. So, new crossover project, when do I think that's going to happen? Well, I don't see it any earlier than April. And let me explain why. And once again, I've said this a lot on stream, so a lot of you guys have heard this information. I have new information, though, and we'll get to that here shortly. Now, Why do I say not until April? Well, let's keep in mind, we've got more coming up in March. We've got, they've already said that we're getting new Sword Oratoria stuff in spring, and I really think they're going to drop that first. March is, what? If we count today, 5 weeks, basically we have until the April Fool's event. If this runs anything like it did last year, they're going to run the North American anniversary stuff a little bit before April Fool's, so April Fool's doesn't really have any kind of overlap. It is just kind of what it is, and that's just a fun little event. There's really nothing too crazy about that. And notice the rerun that we're getting right now, the gacha rerun, I believe that's very early. I don't think that dropped, but what? I want to say late March, early April last year. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's early. So I think what they're doing is they're speeding some of this up, get some of these in here, and notice that they're really trying to milk us for all of our free-to-play Iris, because they know a big rerun like Attack on Titan is going to be insanely hype. Just saying. Now, they haven't talked anything about Crossover Project in a really long time, and if it was coming close, they would be hyping the hell out of it. So expect the rerun probably end of March, perhaps even as late as early April. But then I think that's going to lead directly, immediately into whatever the new Crossover Project is. So right now, in March, you need to be on Iris saving mode. No questions asked. You 100% need to just, from this point on, 100% save. Unless really, really wild stuff drops, and I'll talk about that in videos if it does, you need to be saving. And once again, when Sword Oratoria stories and all that drop, don't just burn that Iris. Like, maybe just do the bare minimum on the normal mode, and then let it work up and let it kind of come back in. The new Sword Oratoria volumes, I believe, are the volumes that were the tales that went with the most recent gacha that we just got, and they're actually going to be permanently available now in here rather than the tales we got before, which I don't know how I feel about that, but that's for better or worse. Now, JP 4th anniversary, we have no idea, but Amori just tweeted out, like maybe a month ago, that the story for 5th anniversary of the game is done, and he's tweeting out stuff about the game all the time. So, in fact, if you didn't see all the fan art that was retweeted for the Valentine's event, you missed out, because some of that was really, really beautiful. But neither here nor there, we have 5th anniversary confirmed for this game. So a lot of people have said, oh, the game's drying up, blah, 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 blah. I promise you, the only reason that we're in a little bit of a slump right now is because the anime's not running, there's no movies in the works, and you know, we're waiting on this crossover project and all that. We might be in a bit of a slump, but it's going to pick back up as soon as we get that crossover, as soon as the anniversary kicks off. Believe you me. Don't get frustrated. Don't start spreading misinformation. This isn't going anywhere. Amori has personally put together a story for 5th anniversary. So if nothing else, 5th anniversary is happening. At nothing else. And that does bring me to a final point. You guys have asked me about this new project they have with Klab. Okay? Let's talk about this a little bit. So, Klab announces development of a new gacha game. This is actually translated. And worldwide distribution. So, in other words, it looks like it's going to be a JP and global game combined. So, that's pretty awesome. Now, what do I think is going to happen? Well, notice that they're advertising it with Danmachi 4. It might kick off with some new stuff, some spoilers from the next season, or it might kick off a 3rd season leading into 4th season. I have no idea. We really don't have any information on this. If you look at Klab, Klab has had some stinkers and had some amazing content. Now, coming from the Dragon Ball side of things, there is no reason whatsoever why both games can't coexist. I've been very vocal about this because I really feel like Klab could do so many amazing things with the new game that wouldn't overlap this game by any stretch. I mean, we are working on Danmachi Memory Freeze, which is an older game. We now have lots and lots and lots and lots of development that we could utilize for new games. So when it comes to this could just be another game you're playing on top of Memory Freeze, 100%. Look, compare that to the best comparison I can really do is Dokkan Battle to Dragon Ball Legends. I think most of you guys probably play Dokkan Battle along with me. I didn't play Legends for very long, but I didn't like the PvP aspect of it and how much you really had to like grind daily to do it. Video for another day. So the new game could be different strokes for different folks, or it could very easily be just this crazy new 3D game that's just phenomenal and amazing. Who knows? We have no idea. So I'm not going to press anything until we get information on this. Am I hyped for it? Absolutely. Of course I'm hyped for it. It's a new Danmachi game. I'm insanely hyped for it. And it's going to be a mobile game, guys. This is not a console game. This is 100% a mobile game. But let's not get too worked up, because as I said, Amori has already tweeted out that 5th anniversary is done. And who knows when the Klab game is going to come out? If it's a cross, worldwide event, you never know. You better believe when they start talking betas, I'm definitely going to get involved. I'm definitely going to get as much information for you guys. I'm definitely going to try to get that information out there for you. But for now, I would just chill, all right? And let's see what happens. That really is going to be the video, guys. I don't have a whole lot more information beyond that. But like I said, save at least 8,000 hours for the new crossover. Before you go crazy on AOT, do consider the age of the characters and how much they're going to... how much they're going to... And when that happens, to me, I don't see AOT happening any earlier than maybe 2, if not 3 weeks from now. If it was going to happen this week, I really feel like they would have already started pumping it. We would have heard more during the live streams about the crossover. So they're going to start pumping that probably, if not this live stream, maybe in 2 live streams from now, if I had to guess. And once again, that's just hazarding a guess. But that's the video, guys. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments section down below. Like, comment, and share. I'm going to be back at you guys with more Danmachi and actual gameplay stuff, not just talking roadmaps and things like that. But let me know if you guys liked the format of this video by hitting that old thumbs up button. It does help the channel out quite a bit. I'll be back at you guys really, really soon.